We could all use a little bit extra belief in ourselves, a little bit extra self-confidence, a little bit extra knowing that you can make this thing happen. Sometimes our self-confidence gets a little low. Sometimes our belief in ourselves gets a little low. So we got to build that thing back up. Again, we're the people that want to go off and design our ideal life, right? You want that life that you don't need to take a break from. You want to be able to have life exactly where you want it. So these are the small things we have to start to pay attention to in order to make that happen. How's your self-confidence? How much do you believe in yourself? Remember, I talked about limiting beliefs. We've been programmed a lot of times by people and things and environments that limit what we believe is possible for us. So we got to unlearn that and relearn some new things, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if we want to get to our ideal life, I talk about gratitude all the time, but you guys got to understand that these are one of the things that allow you to persevere through all the challenges of life. It's your ability to be grateful. Tony Robbins in there said, gratitude dismantles fear and anxiety, the two things that ruin people's lives, right? The fears. By the way, fear, false evidence appearing real. We can talk about fear for days. Fear is not a real thing, right? It's a made up story. Fear of failure, fear of death, fear of poverty, fear of loss. Like these aren't things that we need to be afraid of. False evidence appearing real. But what overrides that? Gratitude. What overrides that? You fixing your focus on what you're grateful for. I think Tony Robbins in there said, learn how to change your body and change your focus. This is how we change our life. Because remember, that's the outcome. Health, wealth, love, and happiness, better life, right? How do we get to that place? Well, we got to do certain things differently than other people that are not experiencing that. So, Tony Robbins is big about changing your physiology, changing your breathing, changing the way that you sit, changing your posture, changing your shoulders. When you are depressed, when you are sad, when you are anxious, you have a physiology about you that creates that emotional state. Most people that are in an active run or a sprint can't be depressed at the same time, right? Like if you're actively running away from a bear, you're not going to be like, my life, right? You can't because it's in your body, right? Your physiology will tell you, I gotta go, I gotta move. It's going to change how you operate. So maybe these emotional homes that we get into, maybe we just got to change our body, take a walk, move. He says Superman pose, right? All these types of things. I know it's weird. I know it's weird. Weird, rich, normal, poor, right? The things that are normal, right? They keep you poor. The things that are a little bit weird, a little bit quirky, but you try them, those are things that are going to make you rich. Those are things that are going to let you set yourself up for a life that you can't even imagine. The other thing is your focus. Fix your focus. If you focus on negative, you get negative. If you focus on bad, you get more bad. You focus on problems, you get more problems. You focus on adversities, you get more adversities. You focus on challenges, you get more challenges. That's the way it works. What's the opposite of that? You focus on the gratitude, you focus on the happiness, you focus on the things you're great, right? Like that you have in your life. You focus on the good things, you get more of those. Focus on the abundance, you focus on the love, you focus on that stuff, you'll get more of it. Doesn't mean this part goes away. It just means that you're focused on something different. These are lessons we got to learn, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to go off and live our ideal life. Your thoughts influence your actions. What do we say on these calls all the time? If you change your thinking, you change your life. Why? Because your thoughts influence your actions. Because you think about life in a certain way, you live life in a certain way. Well, if you change the way you think about life, you would live life differently. Simple concept that we got to grasp. You got to act this out every single day. You got to fight for your dreams. You got to fight for your goals. And that means you got to fight to change your mindset. It's literally what it means. You got to fight to change your mindset. It's not just going to fall on you. It's not just going to happen. Financial freedom doesn't just happen. Great marriages don't just happen, right? Like being healthy doesn't just happen. We have to think differently about it, then work at it, right? And so the big thing we talked about and you heard in these videos is talking about confidence. In our text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class, it says it right here. The great ones possess supreme confidence. Again, we could all use a little confidence boost. You could all use a little boost in knowing that like you can make whatever life you're trying to achieve, you can make it happen. You can do it. But we got to know that we got to build our confidence. Here's what it says in the text. It says another great word to distinguish world-class performers from average people is confidence. It Some people are raised by confidence building parents, teachers, and coaches, yet they're in the minority. Most champions realize they were responsible for developing their own confidence at some point and programmed themselves through a series of ongoing techniques. These programming strategies might include mental imagery and visualization techniques, meditation, sports, martial arts, learning a new language or musical instrument, losing weight, or getting on an exercise regimen. All these strategies contribute to boosting self-confidence, but the two fastest, most powerful ways to skyrocket self-confidence I ever seen are: number one, change the language you use when you talk to yourself and others. Say that again. Change the language you use when you talk to yourself and others. Positive self talk can literally change your life in 90 days if you really stick to it. You can reprogram your entire belief system just by changing the words you use when you talk to yourself. I've read volumes of books on the subject. The best one is called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. This book is written in simple language and explains how the change process works. Number two, learning to be a proficient and entertaining public speaker. When you can stand in front of a group of people and communicate effectively, it catapults your confidence into the stratosphere. Most world-class business people are strong speakers. If you want to raise your self-confidence, if you want to skyrocket your self-confidence, know that you can do anything. Believe in yourself. Number one, we got to change our language. We got to change how we talk to ourselves. Some of you that are around me or get around me in business, if I hear you say something bad about yourself, I course correct you right away. We're not going to say that anymore. We're going to say this about ourselves. Why? Because you talk to yourself every day. You're the person that talks to yourself the most. Your thoughts are you talking to you. So what's that language like? Is it like, another day, oh, woe is me, right, just my luck, I can't seem to catch a break, like, I know I can't do this. Like, how are we talking to ourselves? Or are we empowering ourselves? Are we right? Are we lifting ourselves up, encouraging ourselves, motivating ourselves, speaking well to ourselves? These become small little habits you got to pay attention to. Other chapters, other times we've talked about metacognition. Metacognition means, are you thinking about what you're thinking about? Like, are you actively thinking about the thoughts that you have? Scripturally, it says we can take all thoughts into captivity, right? So that means your thoughts are not you. The question is, are you thinking about what you're thinking about? So are you thinking about what you're saying to yourself? Are you thinking about the language that you use before you use it? Are you thinking about the messages you tell yourself? If not, now's the time to pay attention to it, because this is what's going to help you get to your ideal life. If you could speak well to yourself, speak good to yourself, change, reprogram your belief system so you can get a different outcome. It says some of these programming strategies: mental imagery and visualization techniques. Mental imagery and visualization techniques. It's in my book bag. Told you all about it. I got my master plan to energize and focus. What is this? This is a visualization technique. My master plan to energize and focus. This is my plans, my health plan, my business plans, my financial goals, my spiritual goals, why I do this. I read that to myself often. Why? Because I talk well to myself. I make sure that I'm telling myself the good things. I give myself affirming statements. I remind myself every day, regardless of what the world says or social media or my family or anything, like, I'm talking well to myself. I'm imagining what life will be like down the road. I'm using these mental imagery and visualization techniques. Right behind my desk right here is my vision board that me and my family did for New Year's Eve, right? Going into the new year, we did vision boards. That's a visualization technique. I sit at this desk a lot, so I stare at that thing. And one of the things says 9 figures, says $300 million, says freedom. It says a bunch of things over there that I constantly visualize so I can change how I speak to myself. How much are you doing this in your life? How much are you intentional? Remember, you want to go off and design this life that you don't know anyone that lives, right? You want all the freedom, all the time, all the money. You want to be able to impact people's lives. You want to be able to live on the beach. You want to be able to have a mansion. You want to be able to do all the things for your family. You don't know anyone that lives that life. So that's why you got to start doing things differently. How do you expect to get there? Got to change how we're thinking about this. So again, mental imagery and visualization techniques, learning something new, losing weight, moving your body differently, pushing you out of your comfort zone. These are all things that help you build self-confidence. So changing your language is important. Changing how you talk to yourself and talk to others will completely change, right, how you view yourself. Second thing is becoming a good public speaker. Again, a lot of this has to do with language. Look at that. Two ways that he says building self-confidence makes is by your language, is by what you say. I know some people are deathly afraid to speak in front of people, deathly afraid to get in front of a group of 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people and be confident on stage and be able to deliver a message and add value. Some people are deathly afraid of that. Well, maybe you should practice. Again, success leaves clues. If you're like, hey, Chris, I am struggling in a little bit of this self-confidence. I think I could have a little boost in my self-confidence and my belief in myself. Go try to talk in front of some people. Go put yourself in a position where you got to talk in front of 10, 15, 20 people. Do it consistently. Don't just do it once. Once pushes you out of the comfort zone, right? Takes you off the cliff. But now you got to start building your plane on the way down. So that means you got to do it consistently. You got to keep showing up. You got to keep talking in front of people. You got to keep changing your language. This is a never ending journey, right? You learn this stuff and then you got to do what you know. Remember, y'all, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. This is stuff you might know, might not be. If now you learned it, okay, I got to change my language. I got to get more visual, mental imagery in my mind, and I got to become a better public speaker. Great, great. Now, can I do what I know? Do I take time today to actually write out affirmations, or do I stick with my routine? Do I take some time today to say, you know what, I need this 30 minutes to spend some time to like put some pictures and affirmations together so I can see them consistently? Or do we just like put that off until down the line? Because the more we learn something and then don't apply it, the more we put off our goals and dreams. Like you're just pushing it all the way down the road. If you do this stuff now, you take action now, you get results faster. So I challenge y'all to start paying attention to this stuff. Pay attention to your confidence. By the way, Ed Milet says another way that you build self-confidence, keep small promises that you make to yourself. Outside of this, the changing your language, the changing your mental imagery, the changing like your ability to speak in front of people confidently. He also said, just keep small promises that you make to yourself. Small promises. Not that you're going to lose 100 pounds in the next 2 months. That's a big promise. Like that's a lot. But the fact that you make your bed every morning. Can you do it consistently for 90 days? Like don't miss a day. Like small promises. Small, right? Like, hey, I'm going to call one person a day to tell them how grateful I am. I'm going to send one text a day to tell someone how grateful I am for them. If I do that for 90 days straight, can I be consistent in that? Can I keep a small promise that I make to myself? Hey, I say I'm going to wake up at 7:30 every morning. Do you do it? Or 7 days in, 2 weeks in, you're pressing the snooze button again? Because if we build self-confidence by keeping the promises we make to ourselves, then you know what erodes your self-confidence? Not keeping the promises you make to yourself. And that's where most of us are because we all have lived experiences. We all have lived experiences where we've let ourselves down, where we said, I'm gonna do something and we don't do it, where we think we can go do something and then our plans, right, don't actually work out that way. Over years and years and years of us doing that, we erode our own self-confidence. We erode our belief in ourselves. We know we said 47 times we were going to go on a diet and we never did. That's why we don't believe in ourselves to get our health better. That's why our belief is off. That's why we get the same results in our health because we already know. So in order to get to the life you want, ladies and gentlemen, we got to change some of these programmings. You got to know that it's possible. You got to build your belief. You got to keep small promises you're making to yourself. You got to make small promises to yourself and then keep them. Follow through. Even if no one else knows, you're going to know. You're going to know that you did it. And that's going to build small little wins. Tony Robbins in there said, talk about your results, right? Getting a new result requires you taking different action. So if you take different action, you get different results. You start building your self-confidence. You start speaking better to yourself. You start speaking better to other people. You start learning how to speak in front of people. You build confidence. Before you know it, you have a rock solid confidence. You have the capacity to handle everything that's going to be up ahead in life for you. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, life doesn't get easier. Life does not get easier. We get stronger or not. It's our choice. But don't think the road is easier. Jim Rohn says, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish it were easier. Don't wish your road were easier. Wish you were better. And how do we get better? In little areas like this. Action step for today says ask your three closest friends this question on a scale from 1 to 7, 7 being most confident. How much confidence do I project? Ask a friend, ask someone close to you about that. Hey, on a scale from 1 to 7, 7 being most confident, how much confidence do I project? This will give you an idea of how the world is responding to you. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you go to work building your self confidence. You go to work building yourself up, working on yourself every day. Every single day, we have the opportunity to grow, learn, become better, become more, give more. That's how we have the capacity. Remember, this is a life of you're building the capacity for the life you asked for. You prayed for something, you asked for something. That's why you're on this call, because you know there's more up ahead. You've asked for it. Now, God's just equipping you, He's building the capacity. You got to go through the valleys, you got to go through the adversities, you got to change your thinking. You got to get new thoughts so you can get new habits so that you can have different outcomes and then eventually you get to that life that you want. I'm on the journey with you guys. That's why we do this. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve to win. Your families deserve to win. If no one ever tells you that, Tatiana, if no one tells you that, I'm always tell you that. You're doing work for a reason. You're doing this for a reason. People are counting on you. Family, friends, people around, they're counting on you to get this information, go off and build your ideal life so they can also benefit from it. But you're the one getting this information, so you got to go apply it. Do something that scares you today, pushes you out of your comfort zone. We'll be back here on Friday. Take care, y'all.